Commander Vexthor looked at the blue planet on his screen. His sharp teeth showed as he smiled. This would be easy. The Krillian Empire had taken over 47 star systems. They never lost a battle. They were the strongest warriors in the galaxy. The planet below was called Earth. The creatures living there called themselves humans. Vexthor read the reports about them. Humans were weak. They had soft skin that cut easily. Their bones broke with little force. They needed very specific air to breathe. Too hot and they died. Too cold and they died. They were fragile creatures. "Send them our message," Vexthor ordered. His tactical officer nodded and pressed buttons on the console. The message went to Earth in 23 different languages. It was simple. Submit to the Krillian Empire or be destroyed. The humans had 72 hours to answer. On Earth, Captain Jake Morrison received the message at his military base. He read it 3 times. Then he picked up his phone and called his superiors. Within an hour, every major government on Earth knew about the message. President Helen Carter sat in a secure room deep underground. Around a large table sat generals, scientists, and leaders from every major nation. Everyone talked at once. Some wanted to negotiate. Others wanted to fight. Nobody agreed on what to do. General Marcus Webb was an old soldier. He had fought in 3 wars. His hair was gray and his face showed many wrinkles. He stood up and everyone went quiet. "They think we are weak," Marcus said. His voice was calm but strong. "They looked at us and saw soft skin. They saw that we need Earth-specific environment. They think this makes us easy to defeat." "Doesn't it?" asked one of the diplomats. "They are bigger and stronger than us. Their technology is more advanced." Marcus shook his head. "They don't understand what Earth is. Scientists classify our planet as a Class 12 death world. Do you know what that means?" Dr. Lisa Grant stood up. She was a scientist who studied alien life. She had been waiting for this moment her whole career, though she wished it happened differently. "A death world means a planet that actively tries to kill everything on it," Lisa explained. "Earth has extreme weather. We have hurricanes, tornadoes, earthquakes, and tsunamis. We have thousands of creatures that can kill humans. We have diseases and viruses. We have poison plants and dangerous terrain. Most planets in the galaxy are calm and stable. Earth is chaos." She pulled up images on the big screen. The Krillians evolved on a low-gravity world with mild weather. Their planet has few predators and little disease. They are the biggest creatures on their world, so nothing hunted them. They became strong because nothing challenged them. "And us?" Helen asked. "Humans are weak individually," Lisa said. "But we evolved on the most dangerous planet in known space. Every human alive today is the descendant of survivors. Our ancestors fought saber-toothed cats. They survived ice ages. They endured plagues that killed millions. We didn't just adapt to Earth, we conquered it. We turned a death world into our home." Marcus nodded. "The Krillians are apex predators who never met real competition. We are apex predators who had to fight for every meal every day for millions of years. They think their strength makes them superior. We know that survival makes us dangerous." Helen looked around the table. She saw fear in some faces. But she also saw determination. Humans had survived worse than aliens. They survived ice ages and world wars. They survived diseases and natural disasters. They would survive this too. "Send our response," Helen said. "Tell them we refuse their offer. Tell them Earth bows to no one. And activate all military protocols. If they want a war, we will give them one they never forget." The message went back to the Krillian fleet. Vexthor read it and felt confused. Why would Prey refuse a predator? It made no sense. He called his officers together. "Scan the planet again," he ordered. "Show me their defenses." The tactical officer worked quickly. "They have basic weapons, chemical rockets and early energy guns. Their space defenses are minimal. They have no shields. Commander, they cannot stop us." "Then we proceed with the invasion," Vexthor decided. "Prepare 10,000 warriors. We will land at their largest cities and demonstrate our power. They will surrender quickly when they see our strength." But Vexthor made a mistake. He assumed humans would fight like Krillians. He thought they would meet in open battle and test their strength. He did not understand that humans learned long ago that fair fights were for sports, not survival. The Krillian dropships entered Earth's atmosphere. They headed for major cities around the planet. New York, London, Tokyo, Mumbai, São Paulo. The plan was simple. Land overwhelming force and demand surrender. Colonel Ryan Bennett watched the ships descend toward New York. He was in command of the city's defense. Around him, soldiers prepared for battle. But they were not standing in formation waiting to fight. They were hiding. "Remember the plan," Ryan said into his radio. "Let them land. Let them spread out. Then we show them what humans do best." The Krillian ships landed in Central Park. The great trees had been cut down to make space. 10,000 alien warriors marched out of the ships. They were 9 feet tall with thick scales covering their bodies. They carried plasma rifles that could melt steel. Commander Zethrak led the ground forces. He looked around at the empty city. Buildings stood silent. Streets were deserted. Where were the humans? "Spread out," Zethrak ordered. "Find them and bring them before me. We will make an example of their leaders." The Krillian warriors split into groups. They marched down the streets of Manhattan. Their heavy feet cracked the pavement. They were not afraid. What could weak humans do against their might? Everything happened at once. Buildings exploded. Not the whole building, just specific floors. Krillian warriors fell as the structures collapsed on them. From windows high above, human snipers fired. Their bullets could not pierce Krillian scales easily, but they aimed for eyes and joints. From below, subway tunnels erupted with soldiers who fired and vanished. The Krillians tried to return fire, but the humans were gone before they could aim. Explosions came from everywhere. Cars rigged with bombs detonated. Manholes burst open with flames. The entire city was a weapon. Zethrak called for backup, but his communications were jammed. Human hackers had taken control of the Krillian network. In his ear, Zethrak heard a human voice speaking perfect Krillian language. "Welcome to Earth," Colonel Ryan said through the hijacked channel. "You wanted to hunt humans. Now you learn what it means to be hunted." Part 2. The battle for New York lasted 3 days. The Krillians expected to win in 3 hours. They were the superior warriors with better weapons and stronger bodies. But they had never fought an enemy like humans before. Commander Zethrak pulled his forces back to Central Park. Of the 10,000 warriors who landed, only 7,000 remained. The humans killed them with tricks and traps. The Krillians never saw them coming. Buildings fell on them. Underground explosions caught them by surprise. Snipers shot from a mile away. "This is not honorable combat," Zethrak said to his officers. "They refuse to face us directly." His second-in-command hissed in agreement. "They are cowards. They hide and strike from shadows." But Colonel Ryan Bennett did not care about honor. He cared about winning. In his command post beneath the city, he studied maps and reports. His soldiers were tired but determined. They were losing people too, but at a much better rate than expected. "They still don't understand," Ryan said to his staff. "They think war has rules. We learned a long time ago that survival has only one rule: stay alive." In the Pacific Ocean, Captain Nicole Harper commanded a carrier group. She watched the Krillian landing ships through her instruments. The aliens ignored the ocean. They came from a dry planet with small seas. They did not think water could hide threats. "Launch the drones," Nicole ordered. Beneath the waves, thousands of small robots moved. Humans built them quickly in the months after the first Krillian message. Each drone carried a specialized weapon. Not to destroy the alien ships, but to disable them. The electromagnetic pulse weapons fired all at once. Invisible waves of energy washed over the Krillian vessels. Lights went out. Engines stopped. Communications died. The ships did not explode or sink. They just became useless metal boxes floating on water. "Secondary teams move in," Nicole said. "Board them and take everything that is not nailed down. We need their technology." In space above Earth, Lieutenant Commander Daniel Price led a squadron of fighters. His ships were small and fast. The Krillian warships were massive and powerful. In a fair fight, the humans would lose in seconds, so Daniel did not fight fair. "All units, attack pattern chaos." He broadcast to his pilots. "Use the satellite fields. Use the moon's gravity. Use everything." The human fighters scattered like insects. They dove toward Earth using the atmosphere to speed up, then pulled up at the last second. The Krillians fired their weapons, but the humans were already gone. The alien ships were built for fighting other large ships in open space. They could not track the small, crazy human craft. Pilot Kevin Ross saw his chance. His ship was damaged and losing air. He would not make it back to base. So he made a choice. He aimed his fighter at a Krillian destroyer and pushed his engine to maximum. "This one is for my sister," Kevin said. His sister died when the Krillians bombed Boston. He ejected from his cockpit 1 second before impact. The explosion tore through the destroyer's engine section. The ship broke apart. Debris from the explosion hit 2 other Krillian ships, damaging them badly. Aboard the command ship Dominion's Fang, Vexthor watched in horror. Did that pilot just kill himself to hurt us? He ejected, Commander, the tactical officer said. But yes, he sacrificed his ship deliberately. They are trading their machines at terrible rates and celebrating it. Vexthor did not understand. In Krillian warfare, losing 1 ship to destroy 1 enemy ship was considered bad. These humans lost 1 ship and destroyed 3. They treated it like a great victory. What kind of species thinks this way? Vexthor wondered aloud. On Earth's surface, the Krillian forces faced a new enemy. They did not see it or hear it. They could not fight it with weapons. Dr. Samuel Klein tried to warn them, but they did not listen. The Krillians are getting sick, Samuel reported to General Marcus Webb. Their immune systems cannot handle Earth's bacteria. Marcus smiled grimly. Earth has been trying to kill humans for millions of years. We developed immunity to thousands of diseases. The Krillians never faced anything like our germs. In South America, Zethrak watched his warriors fall ill one by one. Small cuts became infected. The hot, wet air carried microbes the Krillians had never encountered. Their medical staff could not keep up with the infections. Pull everyone back to the landing zones, Zethrak ordered. Full decontamination procedures. We cannot fight an enemy we cannot see. But Sergeant Linda Hayes did not let them retreat peacefully. She led a special forces team through the jungle. They did not engage in direct combat. They just made sure the Krillians stayed exposed to Earth's environment as long as possible. Fire and fall back, Linda ordered. Her team shot at the retreating aliens, then vanished into the dense forest. The Krillians tried to chase them but got lost. The humans knew every tree and trail. This was their planet. After 3 weeks of fighting, the Krillian Empire counted its losses. They sent 100,000 warriors to Earth. 30,000 were dead or too sick to fight. They held no territory. They captured no resources. They achieved nothing except learning that humans were more dangerous than anyone expected. In the Krillian capital, 7 light-years away, Emperor Krathzul met with his war council. He was furious. His empire conquered 47 star systems. 1 small planet should not be a problem. How can we lose to these creatures? Krathzul demanded. They are weak and soft. War Master Thexmul was an old soldier. He fought in 20 campaigns and won them all. But he saw something in the reports from Earth that worried him. Your Majesty, we underestimated them. Thexmul said carefully. These humans are not like other species. They did not evolve on a peaceful world. Their planet tried to kill them every day for millions of years. They are not strong like us, but they are survivors. Every tactic they use, every trick, every trap. These are the methods of creatures who had to outsmart bigger, stronger predators just to eat dinner. Then we change our tactics, Krathzul decided. No more ground invasion. We will bombard them from orbit. We will destroy their cities from space where they cannot touch us. That will kill millions of humans, Thexmul warned. It will also destroy the resources we came to take. Then they will learn the price of defiance, Krathzul said coldly. Prepare the bombardment fleet. We leave in 3 days. Word of the planned bombardment reached Earth through captured Krillian communications equipment. President Helen Carter called another emergency meeting. The situation was desperate. Earth's defenses could stop some orbital weapons, but not a full bombardment from multiple ships. How long do we have? Helen asked. 72 hours, Marcus replied. But we have been preparing for this possibility. He pulled up plans on the screen. Project Ascension. We have been building underground cities for months. We also developed shield technology based on stolen Krillian designs. We made it better. We cannot stop the bombardment, but we can survive it. What about our response? Helen asked. We cannot just hide and let them destroy our world. Jake Morrison stepped forward. He was now commanding all space forces. We take the fight to them. The Krillians keep their fleets together because they never needed to defend their colonies. They think they are safe. We will show them that nobody is safe in a war with Earth. The plan was bold and dangerous. While Earth prepared for bombardment, human ships would attack Krillian colonies and supply lines. They would make the Empire defend everything, which meant they could defend nothing properly. Part 3. Lieutenant Amy Foster stood on the bridge of her ship, the Earth defense vessel Retribution. She volunteered to lead the first strike against a Krillian colony. Her crew of 300 people knew they might never see Earth again. But they also knew someone had to make the Krillians hurt. "How long until we reach Epsilon Eridani?" Amy asked her navigator. 6 hours, Captain," the young officer replied. His hand shook slightly on the controls. "The colony is a mining operation. Intelligence says they have minimal defenses." Amy nodded. "Remember, we are not there to conquer. We hit them hard, destroy their resources and leave, make them defend every colony they have." The ship jumped through hyperspace. Amy thought about her home. In 3 days, the Krillian bombardment fleet would arrive at Earth. Her planet would be attacked from orbit. Millions might die. She pushed the thoughts away. She had a job to do. The Epsilon Eridani system appeared on their screens. The colony was on a small moon orbiting a gas giant. Thousands of workers mined valuable metals there. A small garrison of Krillian soldiers protected them. "They detected us," the tactical officer reported. "They are signaling for help." "Jam their communications," Amy ordered. "Launch all fighters." Ground teams prepare for insertion. The Retribution dove toward the moon. Krillian defense platforms fired at them. But the human ship was fast. It dodged and weaved like a smaller craft. The Krillians expected military vessels to be slow and heavily armored. This human ship was neither. Commander Greg Palmer led the ground assault team. He and 50 Marines loaded into drop pods. These were basically metal boxes with rockets that crashed into the ground. It was dangerous and uncomfortable, but it got them down fast. 30 seconds to impact, Greg announced to his team. "Remember, plant the charges and get out. We have 10 minutes before this place becomes a sun." The pod slammed into the mining facility's landing pad. Marines poured out, firing at surprised Krillian guards. The aliens were strong and tough, but they did not expect this attack. They thought Earth was too busy defending itself. Corporal Nina Flores ran through the facility with her demolition team. She placed nuclear charges at key structural points. Her hands moved quickly and precisely. She trained for this moment for months. "Charges set," Nina reported. "We have 8 minutes." "All teams fall back to extraction point," Greg ordered. The Marines fought their way back to the landing pad. Behind them, alarms screamed through the facility. Krillian reinforcements arrived, but they were too late. The human dropships lifted off just as Nina triggered the countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, she counted calmly. The explosion turned the mining facility into a small sun for 3 seconds. 3 months of refined metals vaporized. The colony's infrastructure melted. The message was clear. Earth could strike anywhere. Back in the Krillian capital, Emperor Krathzul received the report. His rage shook the throne room. "They attacked Epsilon Eridani? How is this possible? Our fleet is at Earth." "That is exactly why they could attack," Thexmul explained. "We concentrated all our forces on Earth. Our colonies are defenseless. Your Majesty, the humans are not fighting the war we expected. They are fighting a war of economics. Every resource we send to conquer them is a resource they destroy. Every ship we send to Earth cannot protect our colonies. Then we split our forces," Krathzul decided. "Half to bombard Earth, half to defend our territory. Which means we will be weaker at both tasks," Thexmul said quietly. "This is exactly what they want." The Krillian bombardment fleet arrived at Earth right on schedule. Admiral Vexthor, promoted despite his earlier failures, commanded 50 warships. They moved into high orbit and prepared to rain fire on the planet below. "Begin bombardment," Vexthor ordered. "Target their military installations first, then their cities." Plasma bolts fell from the sky like deadly rain. Military bases exploded. Mountains melted. Rivers boiled. But when the smoke cleared, Vexthor saw something that confused him. The bases were empty. The cities were abandoned. "Where are they?" he demanded. "Underground, Admiral," his tactical officer reported. "They evacuated their population into deep shelters. We are destroying empty buildings." From beneath the Rocky Mountains, General Marcus watched the bombardment on screens. "They are wasting ammunition on empty targets. Let them, we can rebuild buildings. We cannot rebuild people, but humans were not just hiding. From concealed positions across the planet, railguns and missiles fired at the Krillian fleet. The ships were too high for the weapons to do serious damage, but that was not the point. Even while being bombed, humans fought back. "They are insane," Vexthor muttered. "They cannot win, but they refuse to surrender." In space, Admiral Daniel Price commanded a small fleet of ships. They were recently built using a combination of human and captured Krillian technology. The ships were not beautiful or elegant. They looked like weapons because that is what they were. Target acquired, his tactical officer Sophia Brooks reported. The Krillian supply convoy is on schedule, Daniel smiled. All ships, attack formation Beta. Hit them hard. The human fleet dropped out of hyperspace right in the middle of the convoy. 6 transport ships carrying food, fuel, and ammunition for the Krillian fleet at Earth. They had minimal escort because the Krillians never expected anyone to attack their supply lines. The battle was short and brutal. Human ships tore through the convoy like sharks through fish. They destroyed every transport and vanished back into hyperspace before the escort could fight back effectively. That is 3 convoys we destroyed this week, Sophia said. The Krillian fleet at Earth is running low on supplies. Good, Daniel replied. Let them choose between bombardment and starvation. On Earth, President Helen addressed her people from a shelter deep underground. Her face appeared on screens in bunkers and caves across the planet. Millions of humans watched and listened. The Krillians think they are destroying us, Helen said. Her voice was calm and strong. They are destroying buildings and roads. They are melting empty cities. But they are not destroying humanity. We survived ice ages. We survived plagues and world wars. We will survive this. She paused and looked directly at the camera. To the Krillian Empire, we send this message. For every human city you destroy, we will destroy 10 of yours. Your colonies are not safe. Your supply lines are not safe. Your homeworld is not safe. We do not need to defeat you in battle. We only need to make victory cost more than you are willing to pay. The message went out across the galaxy on all frequencies. Other species heard it. Some were terrified of humanity. Others were inspired. The Viridian Collective, enslaved by the Krillians for 3 generations, began to rebel. They saw that the mighty empire could be hurt. Back at Krathzon Prime, the Krillian homeworld, citizens experienced something new. Fear. They heard about the attack on Epsilon Eridani. They heard about convoy raids. They heard that human ships reached close to their own star system. For the first time in their history, Krillians understood what it felt like to be prey instead of predators. They did not like it. Emperor Krathzul called an emergency meeting of his war council. The room was tense. The war was not going as planned. The empire was losing ships and colonies. Other subject species were rebelling. The economy was suffering. How long can we maintain the bombardment of Earth? Krathzul asked. 2 months with current supplies, an officer reported. Less if the humans keep destroying our convoys. And how long until we conquer Earth? Nobody answered. The truth was they were not conquering anything. They were just destroying empty buildings while humans hid underground and struck at them from every direction. Thexmal finally spoke. Your Majesty, we need to consider negotiations. Negotiations? Krathzul's voice was dangerous. We are the Krillian Empire. We do not negotiate with prey. With respect, Your Majesty, they are not prey. They are predators. Perhaps the most dangerous predators in the galaxy. They evolved on a world that tried to kill them every day. They learned to turn every disadvantage into a weapon. They learned that survival is more important than honor. We are not fighting warriors. We are fighting survivors. And survivors never quit. Part 4, the war entered its 6th month. Earth was scarred with craters and melted cities. But the planet was not defeated. Millions of humans lived underground in tunnels and bunkers. They grew food in hydroponic farms. They breathed recycled air. They lived in conditions that would drive most species insane. But humans adapted. They always adapted. President Helen Carter walked through one of the underground cities beneath what used to be Denver. Children played in artificial parks under LED lights that mimicked sunshine. Schools operated on regular schedules. People lived their lives as normally as possible while their planet was being bombed from space. How are supplies holding up? Helen asked the shelter administrator. We have enough food and water for another year, the woman replied. Air recycling is at 98% efficiency. Morale is surprisingly good. People understand what we are fighting for. Helen nodded. She was proud of her species. Any other race would have surrendered by now. But not humans. Humans were stubborn. They inherited that stubbornness from ancestors who survived countless extinctions. In space, the Krillian bombardment fleet was having problems. Admiral Vexthor looked at his supply reports with growing concern. Food was running low. Ammunition was running low. Fuel was running low. The human raids on convoys were working. We can maintain bombardment for 3 more weeks, his logistics officer reported. After that, we need to return to base for resupply. 3 weeks, Vexthor repeated. And we have accomplished what, exactly? We destroyed empty buildings. We killed some humans, but not many. They hide underground where we cannot reach them. And every day they attack our colonies. His tactical officer interrupted. Admiral, we are receiving reports from home. Another human attack, this time on Proxima Station. Vexthor pulled up the report. Proxima Station was a major supply depot. It stored food for 3 star systems. Human ships hit it with precision strikes and destroyed 6 months of supplies. Now millions of Krillian civilians would go hungry. They are making us bleed, Vexthor said quietly. Not in battle, but in resources. Every day this war continues. We lose more than we gain. Admiral Daniel Price stood on the bridge of the Earth defense ship Defiance. The ship was new, built in secret on the moon while Earth was under bombardment. It used Krillian technology that humans captured and improved. It was fast, deadly, and crewed by people who had nothing left to lose. Course set for Krathzon Prime, his navigator reported. The entire bridge went silent. Krathzon Prime was the Krillian homeworld, the heart of their empire. Attacking it was suicidal. It was also necessary. Are you sure about this, Admiral? Commander Sophia Brooks asked. She lost her entire family when Chicago was bombed. Her hatred for the Krillians burned cold and focused. We need to send a message, Daniel replied. They think they are safe. They think they can attack Earth while their homeworld stays peaceful. We will show them that nowhere is safe. The fleet of 12 human ships jumped into hyperspace. Every crew member volunteered for this mission. They knew the odds of survival were low. They did not care. This was about making the Krillians understand what fear felt like. On Krathzon Prime, citizens went about their daily lives. The war with Earth was far away. They heard reports of losses, but the Empire always won in the end. They believed their leaders who said victory was certain. Then the alarm started. Human ships appeared at the edge of the system. Krillian defense forces scrambled to respond, but most of their fleet was at Earth or protecting colonies. The Home Guard had only 12 capital ships available. The human fleet had 12 ships too, but the humans did not fight like the Krillians expected. Scatter, Daniel ordered. Each group takes a target. We have 1 hour to make them remember us forever. The human ships split up and dove into the system. They did not target military installations. They targeted civilian infrastructure. Not to destroy it, but to disable it. Communications arrays went dark. Power stations shut down. Water treatment facilities stopped working. Commander Greg Palmer led a strike team to the surface. They landed in the capital city, just outside the Imperial Palace. The Krillian guards were shocked. Enemy soldiers on their homeworld? It was impossible. But Greg and his Marines moved fast. They fought through the outer defenses, planted explosives, and broadcasted footage of human soldiers in the Krillian capital. Then they extracted before the main defense forces arrived. The message was clear. If humans could reach the Emperor's doorstep, they could reach anyone. Emperor Krathzul watched the footage from his throne room. Human soldiers running through his capital. Human ships attacking civilian targets on his homeworld. His mandibles trembled with rage and something he never felt before. Fear. How did they get here? He demanded. Where were our defenses? At Earth, Your Majesty, Thexmul replied quietly. Or protecting colonies. Or hunting human raiders. We spread our forces too thin. This is what they wanted. They made us defend everything, which means we defend nothing properly. This is unacceptable, Krathzul roared. I want every ship recalled. I want these humans exterminated. If we recall the fleet from Earth, the bombardment stops, Thexmul pointed out. And the humans will claim victory. They will say they drove us away. And if we continue the bombardment, they will keep attacking our home systems, Krathzul realized. How did we lose control of this war? Across the Krillian Empire, subject species watched the news with growing hope. The mighty empire was being hurt by one small planet. If Earth could fight back, maybe others could too. The Viridian Collective rose in open rebellion. They destroyed Krillian garrisons on 3 worlds. The Crystalline Concordat declared independence. The Empire was not just fighting Earth anymore. It was fighting a crumbling of its entire power structure. In an underground bunker on Earth, General Marcus reviewed intelligence reports with his staff. The Empire is falling apart, he said, but they are too proud to admit it. How long can we hold out? One of his officers asked. As long as necessary, Marcus replied. Humans have lived underground for months. We can live underground for years if we have to. The Krillians cannot say the same about their blockade. Every day they stay here costs them more than it costs us. Captain Nicole Harper commanded a guerrilla fleet that operated in deep space. Her ships were small and fast. They hit Krillian supply convoys and vanished before reinforcements arrived. She became a legend among both humans and Krillians. Some called her the Ghost Admiral. Another convoy spotted, her tactical officer reported. 6 transports with light escort. Standard attack pattern, Nicole ordered. We are running low on ammunition, so make every shot count. Her fleet struck fast and hard. The convoy escort tried to fight back, but Nicole's ships were too quick. Within 20 minutes, the convoy was destroyed. Another week of supplies lost. Another blow to the Krillian war effort. In the Krillian High Command, War Master Thexmal made a difficult decision. He went to see Emperor Krathzul alone. The Emperor was planning his next move, studying maps of Earth, looking for weaknesses. Your Majesty, Thexmal said carefully, we need to talk about ending this war. Ending? Krathzul turned on him. We do not end wars. We win them. We are not winning this one, Thexmal said bluntly. We have lost 17 colonies. 4 fleets are destroyed or crippled. Our economy is collapsing. Subject species are rebelling. And Earth is still fighting. Your Majesty, we made a terrible mistake. We thought humans were weak prey. They are not. They are the most dangerous predators in the galaxy. How can you say that? They hide underground like insects. They hide underground and strike from every direction, Thexmal corrected. They turned their entire planet into a fortress. They raid our supplies. They attack our homeworld. They never stop fighting. Your Majesty, they evolved on a death world. Every day of their existence was a struggle for survival. They learned to fight dirty, fight smart, and never give up. We cannot defeat an enemy that refuses to be defeated. Krathzul was silent for a long moment. Finally, he asked the question that terrified him. What do you suggest? Negotiations, Thexmal said, before we lose everything. A week later, a message arrived at Earth. It came from the Krillian High Command. They requested negotiations. Not surrender, but talks to end the conflict. President Helen read the message 3 times. Then she smiled. Not a happy smile, but the smile of someone who survived something terrible. Send a response, she told her communications officer. We will negotiate, but the talks happen here on Earth, in the ruins of New York City. Let them see what they did. Let them walk through the graveyard they created, and let them understand that if they ever threaten us again, we will not show mercy a second time. Part 5, the Krillian ship landed in what used to be Central Park. The trees were gone, burned away by plasma fire. The ground was black and cracked. Around the landing zone, humans had built temporary shelters from the rubble of destroyed buildings. Children watched the alien ship with hard eyes. They grew up in a war. They knew no other life. Emperor Krathzul stepped out of the ship wearing a protective suit. Earth's gravity pulled at him uncomfortably. The air was too thick. The temperature too variable. This was a death world, and his body knew it. President Helen Carter waited for him. She wore simple clothes and stood without any guards visible. But Krathzul knew human snipers watched from a dozen positions. He also knew those snipers could kill him before his guards reacted. Welcome to Earth, Helen said. Her voice was calm but cold. You wanted to conquer a death world. Now you are standing on one. Krathzul looked around at the devastation. His fleet did this. They melted buildings and boiled rivers. But the humans were still here. Still fighting, still alive. We underestimated your species, he said through his translator. You mistook resilience for weakness, General Marcus Webb replied. He stood next to Helen, his old soldier's eyes showing no mercy. Every human on this planet descended from survivors who conquered this world long before we reached the stars. You thought our need for specific conditions made us fragile. You did not realize it made us creative, adaptable, and absolutely unwilling to give up. The negotiations took place in a reinforced bunker beneath Manhattan. The same bunker where Helen ordered the activation of all defense protocols months ago. Around a table sat representatives from both sides. Dr. Lisa Grant attended as a xenology expert. War Master Thexmal came as the Krillian military representative. Thexmal spoke first. The Krillian Empire proposes a complete withdrawal from Earth's solar system. We will establish a demilitarized zone. We will pay reparations for damages. We will return all prisoners of war. Not enough, Admiral Jake Morrison said. He organized much of humanity's counteroffensive from space. You attacked us without provocation. You attempted genocide, and you awakened the galaxy to the fact that the great Krillian Empire can be hurt. He brought up a holographic display showing star systems across the region. 7 species contacted us requesting alliance or technology sharing. Your reputation as unstoppable conquerors died when we fought back successfully. Krathazul's scales darkened with shame. What do you demand? Helen stood. Even though she was much smaller than the Krillians, she commanded the room. First, complete demilitarization of your border systems. Second, the release of all species under Krillian control. Third, open borders for trade and diplomatic relations. Fourth, a permanent seat for humanity on any galactic councils or governing bodies. You would destroy our empire, Krathazul protested. You tried to destroy our world, Colonel Ryan Bennett said. He bore scars from the urban combat in New York. His voice was harsh. The difference is we survived. Now you face a choice. Adapt as we did, or fade into history as the empire that learned too late that strength is not the same as invincibility. The talks continued for 3 weeks. Both sides argued over every detail. But slowly a treaty took shape. The Krillian Empire would transform from conquerors into partners in a new galactic order. Humanity's fierce defense rewrote the rules that governed the galaxy. Dr. Richard Cole addressed the scientific exchange program. We will share our adaptation technologies, our medical advances born from surviving Earth's environment. In return, you provide your faster-than-light communications and energy generation methods. Both species benefit. But the most surprising proposal came from Captain Nicole Harper. Joint military training exercises, she said. You taught yourselves to fight in ideal conditions. We can teach you to fight anywhere, in any conditions, against any odds, not as enemies but as allies. The galaxy is vast. There may be threats neither of us can face alone. Thexmul considered this. Then his mandibles clicked in what Lisa recognized as approval. The greatest warriors are those who can turn enemies into allies. Perhaps that is the lesson Earth was meant to teach us. Emperor Krathazul stood for the final address. My species spent centuries believing we were the apex predators of the galaxy. We were wrong. True apex predators do not just dominate through strength. They adapt, survive, and overcome any obstacle. In that definition, humanity has no equal. Helen responded carefully. We are not interested in being apex predators. We are interested in surviving, thriving, and exploring the cosmos. But we learned one lesson from Earth's history. Peace is preferable to war, but we will excel at either one if we must. The Treaty of New York was signed on a tablet made from melted Krillian weapons and human debris. It was a symbol of the conflict's remnants transformed into something new, something better. As the Krillian delegation prepared to leave, Ambassador Sophia Brooks gave Thexmul a gift. It was a seedling from a redwood tree. These trees were some of Earth's most resilient life forms. This tree can live for thousands of years, Sophia explained. It survives fires, droughts, and ice ages. Planted in your capital as a reminder, underestimate a death world's children at your own peril. Thexmul accepted the gift with reverence. I will plant it myself, and I will make sure every young Krillian learns its meaning. Months later, Admiral Daniel Price stood on the observation deck of Earth's first true starship. The vessel was called Horizon. It represented humanity's future, not as conquerors but as explorers. Around him, a mixed crew of humans and former Krillian enemies prepared for a joint mission to uncharted space. Commander Greg Palmer served as first officer. He joined Daniel at the window. Do you think we made the right choice? Trusting them? Daniel watched the stars for a moment. They learned a hard lesson. Sometimes the deadliest predator is not the biggest or strongest. It is the one that refuses to quit. The one that adapts to anything. The one that turns every disadvantage into a weapon. They thought they were apex predators. They were wrong to start a war with a species that became apex predators by surviving a death world. Below them, Earth spun slowly. The planet showed scars from the war. Craters marked where cities once stood, but life was returning. Trees grew in the burned zones. Animals returned to the forests. Humans emerged from underground to rebuild their world. Cities rose from the rubble. Not the same cities, but new ones designed with lessons learned from the war. Every building had shelters. Every population center had multiple evacuation routes. Humanity would never be caught unprepared again. In the Krillian capital, The redwood seedling was planted in the palace gardens. Emperor Krathazul visited it every day. It reminded him of his species' hubris. It reminded him that strength came in many forms. Across the galaxy, word spread about Earth and its people. Some species were afraid of humans. Others were impressed. Everyone understood that the balance of power had shifted. The Krillian Empire was no longer the undisputed ruler of their region of space. New alliances formed. The Viridian Collective, free from Krillian control, established diplomatic relations with Earth. The Crystalline Concordat shared their technology in exchange for human medical knowledge. A new era began, one where cooperation replaced conquest. But humans did not forget the lessons of the war. They built their fleet larger and stronger. They established colonies on Mars and the moons of Jupiter. They prepared for the day when another threat might appear. Because humans knew that peace was fragile and survival required constant vigilance, Jake Morrison became the first human ambassador to the Galactic Council. He stood before representatives from dozens of species and delivered Earth's first official address to the galactic community. "We come not as conquerors but as partners," Jake said. "We offer our friendship, our knowledge, and our strength. But we also offer a warning. Earth is a death world. Every human alive is a survivor of conditions that would kill most species. We learn to adapt, to overcome, and to never surrender. We hope for peace, but we are always prepared for war. Remember this when you consider humanity's place in the galaxy." The speech was met with silence at first. Then slowly applause began. Not because the aliens loved humans, but because they respected them. Respect born from fear, perhaps, but respect nonetheless. Years later, historians would study the war between Earth and the Krillian Empire. They would analyze the tactics, the strategies, and the outcomes, but they would always return to the same conclusion. The Krillians asked themselves if they were wrong to start a war with humanity. The answer was simple. Yes, they were wrong, not because they lost, but because they never understood what they were fighting. They saw weak creatures who needed specific environments. They did not see survivors who conquered the most dangerous planet in known space. They saw prey. They did not see predators who learned to hunt while being hunted. The galaxy learned a lesson that day. Never underestimate a species from a death world, because survival on such a world requires qualities that comfortable species never develop. Adaptability, resilience, creativity, and most dangerous of all, the absolute refusal to give up no matter the odds. The Krillians thought they were apex predators. They were wrong. They started a war they could not win because they did not understand that true apex predators are not born strong.